Hi guys, welcome to the second part of the Django and JavaScript tutorial series where we are building a quiz application. And in this one we are going to do a couple of things. Among others, we are going to create a sample quiz in our Django administration, and then we are going to list out the quizzes that are available in our site. And once we decide to take a particular quiz, we need to then click on it and a modal will appear with some key informations about this quiz that we are just about to take. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so I'm going to head to quizzes and I'm going to add one. I'm going to set a name, simple math. The topic will be calculations, for example. Number of questions I'm going to set to 3. The time I'm going to set to 1 minute for now. Required score to pass, let's do it like this, 60%, and the difficulty will be easy. So I'm going to save this, and now what I'm going to do is to head over to the questions. So over here I'm going to add a question, and let's say that 1 plus 1 is, and we need to select the quiz, so we have one available, simple math calculations, and then we will have the answers over here, 2, 3, 4, and the correct one is 2. Okay, so I'm going to save it and add another one. So here we will have 2 plus 2 is, and again, simple math calculations, and here we will have 1, 4, 6, and the correct one is 4. Save and add another one, and then 3 plus 3 is, and again, simple math calculations, and then let's select this one as the correct one. So I'm going to save this, and right now we have the questions, but also we have the answers. All right, so the answers are created as well. Okay, to be sure that we will display only 3 questions, what I'm going to do for now as a temporary solution is to go to our code editor, and we need to find not questions but quizzes. Let's jump to modals py, and over here we are getting all the questions related to a particular quiz. And then we have the number of questions field over here. So as a temporary solution, I'm going to put in self number of questions. All right, so I'm going to get the first questions limited to the number of questions. Okay, so now I'm going to save this. As mentioned before, we will take care of this logic in a little bit different way a little bit later throughout this course. And as the next step, let's jump into views py, and over here let's begin from the imports. So I'm going to head over to the models, and I'm going to bring in the quiz, and then I'm going to go to Django views generic. From here I'm going to import the list view, and then I'm going to create a class below that I'm going to name quiz list view, which will inherit from list view. The model is going to be the quiz, and we are going to specify a template name. Let's put it in quizzes, and the name is going to be main HTML. So right now what we need to do is to go to quizzes, create a templates folder, and we need to make sure that this path will exist. So let's put in quizzes, and then inside of quizzes let's place main HTML. All right, so we will take care of main HTML in just a second, but let's also create another view, and this can be actually a function view. Let's do it very easily. I'm just going to call it quiz view, and this will take in a request and keyword arguments, or we can do it we can pass in directly a primary key, and then we will have a quiz object. This is going to be quiz objects get, and then we are going to set the primary key as the one that we are getting from over here. And then we need to return render. We need to pass in the request, the template name. So again, let's go to quizzes, and over there we are going to create quiz HTML, and we need to pass in the obj as quiz. So to obj we are assigning this, to the key obj we are assigning the quiz value, and we are passing it to the template. All right, so as the next step, let's actually register those two views for now. I'm going to create another file in the quizzes, and it's going to be called urls.py. So let's do some imports from Django URLs. We want to import path, and then from .views, and here I'm going to open up a tuple, and I'm going to import quiz list view and quiz view. All right, so I'm also going to specify the app name as quizzes, and then we are going to open up the URL patterns, and here I'm going to register those views. So the first one is going to be our main view, quiz. Let me just copy this, quiz list view as view, and the name, let's set it to main view maybe. And then the next one is going to have a primary key, right? So this is basically related to the primary key that we have over here. So over here we are going to get the primary key that is in the URL, and based on that we are going to get our quiz object. So this primary key is extremely important, and we need to put in quiz view, and we don't put as view because this is a function view. And then let's name this just maybe quiz view. All right, so at this moment those URL patterns aren't linked up with our Django application. In order to do that, we need to jump into our quiz proj to the main urls.py file. We already have include imported, at least I imported include. And as the next step, let's bring in the URL patterns from our quizzes applications. So I'm going to set this as the main path, and then I'm going to put in include, and we want to go to quizzes URLs. And as the next step, we want to specify the namespace, and it should match the app name that we written down in the quizzes URLs. So here we just need to put in quizzes. And basically this should do the trick. So as the next step, we can actually focus on the templates. We didn't create a quiz HTML, so maybe let's do it first. Quiz HTML like this. So what I'm going to do first is to inherit from base HTML, and then I just need to take a look at the base HTML. What do we have here? So we have block scripts, block title, and block content. All right, so maybe in the main HTML, okay, I did this extends base HTML in the quiz HTML, so I'm going to go to actually main HTML first, and here let's do one more time. Inherits from base HTML, so extends base HTML, and then for now, I'm going to put in block title. I'm going to put in home. So I'm skipping for now the block scripts. And then I'm going to put in block content. And I'm just going to put in quiz list. All right. So yeah, let's see if this is working. So over here, I have page not found. I'm going to hit refresh. And okay, so we did a mistake in the URLs PY. Over here, if you take a closer look, I forgot to put in the import. So from .views, we want to import quiz list view and quiz view. Sorry about this mistake, guys. Let me hit refresh, and there it is. All right, so this is working. All right, guys, so as the next step, let's actually take care of the quiz HTML. So over here, let's put in block title. In the block title, maybe let's display the obj title. And then in the block content, for now, let's also display the obj title. So let's save this. Let's not refresh. Let's go to the first object, and here something didn't work. So this is our quiz HTML, and we don't see the obj title in the block title nor the block content. So let's actually take a look at the modals, and here is the problem. So the field isn't title, it is actually name. Sorry about this mistake. Let me save this, refresh, and here is our quiz. All right, so we have the name, but later we will also have the access to the get questions method. So we can actually loop through those questions, list them out, and then if we go to the questions, over here we have access to the get answers. So to each question we have access to the answers of those questions. And then if we take a look at the answer, we have text. So the text of the answer, correct, okay? And later we have the question. So this is how we link the answer to the question and the created. All right, so right now we can actually focus on working on our templates. What I'm going to do is to head over to getbootstrap.com. All right, guys, over here, let's jump to the docs. Let's type modal. And let's take a look at this live demo. And this is exactly what we need. So I'm going to copy everything from here. I'm going to put it into the main HTML, maybe below the quiz list for now. So I'm going to add a break line or horizontal line. And let's see if this is working. So let's go back to the main page, launch demo. I'm going to press Command-Shift-R. And the modal isn't working. So let's go to base HTML. And over here, I think we are using version 4. So in the Bootstrap right now, over here we see version 5. So I'm going to change it to 4. And I'm going to go to modals one more time. And I'm going to grab the modal from here. Copy, and then let's go to main HTML. And let's replace this code. All right, I'm going to save this and refresh. And right now it's working. Okay, so the issue was the Bootstrap version. So in our base HTML, we are using version 4. However, if you go to getbootstrap.com, the default version right now is version 5. So once you change it over here to 4, everything should be working. All right, guys. So as the next step, let's actually work a little bit on our template on our main page. So we need to go back to main HTML, and this button, well, we can actually delete it. Let's also delete this quiz list and the horizontal line. Let's be sure that the modal is at the very top. And then let's create a div with a class of h1, and here let's put inside quiz list, and let's close off the div. And then let's add a horizontal line, and let's perform a for loop. So for obj in object list. Okay, so we are using a class-based view, so we can look through the object list, and we are grabbing a single obj, and then we will have a button where we are going to do a couple of things. So first of all, what I'm going to do is to set a class, and this is going to be btn and then btn link. And I'm also going to add a modal button class, and this modal button class will enable us to grab all the buttons which are related to quizzes, and then we are going to listen on a click event. Okay, so this is something that we will cover in just a few seconds, but apart from class, we need to set some custom attributes. So for example, we will put in the primary key. So we always begin with data, and then we pass the name. So in this case, I just named this data pk because this is going to be obj pk. Okay, so doing it like this, we can actually grab the primary key in the JavaScript part, and this is what we are going to do a little bit later. But apart from the data pk, let's also pass data quiz. So here we will have obj, not obj quiz, obj name was the field, so I'm just going to leave it like this, obj quiz, and this is going to be the obj name of the quiz. Makes sense, I think. Then we will have the data questions, and here I'm going to put in obj and the number. We need to refer to the number of questions field. Okay, all right. What else? We would like to display the difficulty, so let's set data difficulty to obj, and then let's go to modals. I'm just going to copy the name of the field, and I'm going to place it over here. So we have the difficulty covered. Let's also do the time. So here we will have data time is equal to, and here we have obj, and what was the field? Let's check it out. It's just time. All right, so let's go back to main, and this is going to be obj time. All right, and we also need the score to pass. So I'm going to create another custom attribute, data pass, and this is going to be obj required score to pass. I think this was the name. Let's check it out very quickly. Required score to pass, yes. Okay, and then we need to focus on if we go to the modal and we take a look at our example, here we have data toggle modal and data target example modal. So this is what I'm going to copy, and I'm also going to place in the button. So let's change this example model to a more proper name. Maybe let's do it, let's set the ID as quiz start modal. So now we can copy this ID and place it over here. All right. So as the next step, we can actually close the button. Hopefully we have everything covered. We can put in the obj name. So this is what's going to be displayed on the button. And we are actually done. So I'm going to save this, and let's go back to our page. Let's refresh. We have a quiz list. Let's press simple math and we see the model. Of course, right now our task will be to get the informations of the simple math test that we can check out in the admin. So here are the information, the number of questions, the time, the required score to pass, the difficulty. Those fields we would like to see actually over here in the model. So this is what we are going to do in the JavaScript part. But before we get there, let's take a look at the model ourselves. So let's go to main HTML, and let's change this title to start with a question mark maybe. And we will also set an ID, modal body confirm, something like this. And we can get rid of the 3 dots. So this modal body confirm is going to be the place where we will display all these informations. And we are going to get this part by ID. And based on the button that refers to a particular quiz, we are going to display the information of the particular quiz that we want to take. All right. So I think that we are ready to save this main HTML and go to static quizzes. And over here, we need to create our main JS. And before we actually do something over here, let's actually link up this main JS with our main HTML. So in order to do this, I need to open up block scripts. Okay, and here let's place script, and then we need to provide the source. So here we actually need to load static. All right. So now let's use static, and we will place the path to this main JS. So it's going to be quizzes and then main JS. Let's also put in defer, and let's close off the script tag. All right. So yeah, we will check if this is working. I'm going to save the main HTML, and in the main JS, I'm just going to put in console log hello world. Let's save this, and let's right click inspect. Let's go to the console, and I'm going to hit refresh, and there it is, hello world. Okay, so this is just a confirmation that everything has been linked up correctly, and right now we can focus on the main JS part. So first of all, we need to grab the elements. So in order to begin, I'm going to create a const where we will have the modal buttons, and we will get those modal buttons by the class name. So let's refer to the document, get elements by class name. We need to put in the modal button, because this is the class that we placed in our link button, all right? And this is going to return an HTML collection. So if I console log modal buttons, we will see a HTML collection of one button right now because we have just a simple math. But if we would have many quizzes, we would see the HTML collection of many buttons. So in order to perform an for each method, we actually need to change this to an array, and we can do it very easily with the use of spread operator. So right now we will have an array, and we can get rid of this console log. Let's grab the modal btns, and let's perform the for each method where we are grabbing a single button, and we are going to listen on a click event. So modal btn add event listener click, and over here let's console log the modal btn, not btns but btn, modal btn. All right, here we have modal btns, and then we are looping through those modal btns. We are grabbing a single modal btn and we are displaying this button. So I'm going to save it, refresh, simple math, and here is our button. All right, and yeah, I just noticed that we also need to adjust those buttons over here. So in order to do this, we actually need to jump back into our main HTML, and yeah, let's go to the modal footer. And first of all, what we are going to have over here is a no. So we will have, are you ready to start? No. And this is not going to be btn secondary, it's going to be a red button, so we need to put in btn danger. And here we will have a green button, and it's going to be btn success. So here we just want to place yes. Okay, and I'm also going to add an ID over here because later we will need this start button. So I'm just going to put in start button as the ID for this particular green button that confirms that we are ready to take a quiz. All right, so I'm going to refresh, and there it is. Okay, let's also maybe add another quiz. Test number of questions 2, time 1 minute, required score to pass 50, difficulty easy, save. Let's go back to the main page, and here is simple math and test. So now if we press on test, we have test over here. Okay, so this is our test button. And if we press on the simple math, we have simple math. So I hope you get the idea, and look at what's inside of those buttons. We have all the information that we need to display. We have data quiz, data questions, the difficulty, the time, the score to pass, and so on. Okay, so over here are all the information necessary for us to display. And what we need to do is just to put in some logic into our JavaScript code in order to display it. It's going to be actually very easy. Okay, we will also need to have the modal body in order to display those informations. So I'm going to create another const, and this is going to be modal body. And here we will have document get element by ID. Get element by, where is it? Get element by ID. All right, and yeah, I'm just going to look up the ID that I set. So we are in the modal, and here is our body. So this is where we are going to display all those information, and here is the modal body confirm ID that I need. Okay, let's place it over here. Perfect. And right now we can actually start grabbing all the necessary information. So inside of this for each, let's create a variable pk, and this is going to be modal btn, and then we can get the attribute, so get attribute, and we need to pass in the name of the attribute. So in this case, it's data pk, and then we can console log the primary key. All right, so let's see if this is working. And there it is. Okay, so let's continue with the name. So another const name is equal to modal btn. I'm just going to maybe copy this a couple of times. It will be a little bit faster, I think. All right, so here we will have name, and the attribute, the custom attribute, is data quiz. Then as the next step, we will have number of questions. So I'm just going to set a name num questions, and this is going to be data questions, I think, questions, like this. Then we will have the difficulty, and this is going to be data difficulty, like this. And then we have score to pass, and this is going to be data pass. And we also have time, and this is going to be data time. All right, so everything that we passed in the template to our JavaScript code through custom attributes, we picked them up, those values of those attributes, and we are ready to display them. So as the next step, let's refer to the modal, not btns, but modal body in our HTML. And with the use of backticks, we are going to inject those values. So here we can write HTML code, and I think we can start with a simple div with a class of, let's say, h5, and let's also put in margin bottom 3, and then we will have something like, are you sure you want to start or begin? Are you sure you want to begin? And let's pass the name. Are you sure you want to begin? Maybe in bolded font. And let's inject the name. So let's put it like this. All right. And then question mark, and let's close off the div. Okay. So this is the first thing. Then below, we will have another div. And here, let's put in a class text muted. Let's close off this div. And inside, we will have an unorganized list where we will hold the information in list items. So let's put in li, let's close it off, and we will begin from difficulty. And here, let's also use bolded font, and let's inject in between the difficulty from over here. Difficulty. All right. So we have our first list item. Let's copy it and paste it 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So here we will have the number of questions. And we need to inject the num questions. Then we will have the score to pass, and we need to inject score to pass. And finally, we will have not the difficulty, but the time, and this is going to be the time, and then let's add min, so time in minutes. All right, so let's see how this is working. I'm going to refresh. And there it is. So we have, are you sure you want to begin simple math? We have the difficulty easy, number of question 3, score to pass 60. We can actually add a percentage. And then we have time. And then if we take a look at the test 2, we have difficulty easy, number of question 2, score to pass 50, and time 1. All right, so let's add the percentage, and also maybe let's add a redirect after we press the yes button with the use of JavaScript to a proper place. So if we press simple math, we should be taken to this page. If we go to this other quiz, we should be taken to this page, okay? So I'm going to explain this in just a second. Maybe also let's add a break line. So if we go to our main HTML, let's maybe also add a break line over here. Okay, and then as mentioned before, in the main.js, let's add a percentage. All right, and finally, let's also grab the start button. So I'm going to create a new variable, and I'm going to name this start btn maybe, and this is going to be document, again, get element by ID, and I think I put in the ID as start button. Okay, so with the start button, we can actually add an event listener, start btn, add event listener, and we are going to listen again on a click event, and then we need to execute some code. So let's maybe do window location ref, and let's console log it first. Console log window location ref. Let's see what do we have over here. So I'm going to hit refresh. Simple math, yes, and we have window location ref. All right. So as the next step, as you can see, this is the URL that we have over here. And remember that we have the primary key. So what we can do is actually set this window location ref to our URL that we need to store as window location ref. I'm going to copy this, and over here I'm going to create another const URL, and this is going to be this window location ref. And in the event listener, I'm going to set this window location ref to URL plus pk. Let's see what we will have over here. Simple math. Are you sure you want to begin simple math? Yes, and we are taken to the simple math. And then if we go to test, are you sure you want to begin test? And we are taken to the test. All right, guys. So yeah, I think we can finish off over here. We will see each other in the next part. Have a great day, and bye-bye.